Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'm the Ski J. Today I'm going to be playing a deck that reached the finals of the most recent ETS Open. This is Crystalline Chalice Control. So basically, what this deck is, if you haven't seen it, is it's a board stall deck. Like at its core, you want to be stalling the board, making sure your opponent can't ever attack. Using cards like Lumen Defender, Combray Healer, Scorpion Wasp. You're basically just trying to gum up the board and then just draw a million cards, every turn or every couple of turns with Crystalline Chalice. So Crystalline Chalice is once per turn. You may pay 2 and exhaust one of your units with 2 attack or less. It gets +2/+2 when you draw a card. If you're coming from Magic, this basically says it's a 4-mana artifact, tap, and tap a creature with power 2 or less. Put 2 1/1 counters on that creature and draw a card. So what you're looking for is, of course, things with 2 attack or less. So you have Desert Marshal, Tillier's Favored, Temple Scribe, Amber Acolyte, Combray Healer, Scorpion Wasp, Lumen Defender, Marison's Disciple. As ways to, you can buff them. Combray Healer, if you just put its buff on itself, it's a 2/5, and then you Crystalline Chalice it becomes a 4/7. Marison's Disciple can make a 2/2 flyer that can become a 4/4 flyer, and also can become a 4/4 itself with the Chalice. Scorpion Wasp, it's perfectly reasonable just to play this at the end of your opponent's turn and Chalice it on your turn, just to draw a card. Amber Acolyte draws you a card. Tillier's Favor draws you a card. Temple Scribe draws you a card. So all these cards do something when they come into play. Gain you health. So basically, you just want to assemble a board that your opponent can't really attack into, and then win the late game with Great Parliament tokens, making like 3 or 4 at a time. So you get up to like 12 or 16 power. Pretty often in this deck. You have Wisdom of the Elders to draw you some extra cards to make sure you find your combo pieces. And, Permafrost to keep you alive early in the game. One thing I've found about this deck, I've played it quite a bit, is it's missing like a real late game. It's missing a late game that doesn't fold to Harsh Rule. I would rather these Great Parliaments be Channel the Tempests, which I know a lot of versions do actually do that. Some people are talking about playing Backlash in this deck as well, which I think is perfectly fine. But I don't really know what what you're actually trying to target when you play Backlash in a deck like this. So I'm kind of hesitant to try it, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Other than that, just we're looking to gum up the board. I'm going to play 3 games. Hopefully we can have a winning record, 3-0, 2-1, something like that. But yeah, so we're going to give it a run, and I'll see you guys for game number 1. All right, guys, welcome to game number 1 as we try out this Crystalline Chalice deck. This hand's got 3 power, Combray Healer, Amber Acolyte, Crystalline Chalice. Yeah, I think everything about this is fine. We will have access to double blue for the Chalices, but it's going to come at the cost of getting ourselves ready for double green. So if we're facing an aggressive deck, which a Harsh Rule, we might be kind of screwed. Diplomatic Seal usually means aggressive deck, in my experience. We have to pass this turn, but next turn we have Amber Acolyte for another blue, and then we get to just hopefully tempo out Crystalline Chalice on 4, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. Because we're probably going to have to Permafrost this guy. No blocks there. I guess we don't necessarily need to Permafrost that. We could just develop a Chalice. If we Permafrost this and then our opponent has a Desert Marshal to pop the Permafrost, we're kind of behind. I think I like just playing a blocker here. No attacks. If he has Desert Marshal, if I attack here, he has Desert Marshal, he silences the Permafrost and then blocks, and I'm down a guy. So I definitely don't want to be a part of that. That sounds terrible. So we do have the Harsh Rule, which I said if we're facing an aggressive deck, we're going to be in some trouble. So I think what our opponent's doing is they are getting ready. Like they're gonna keep hitting power drops, make this huge, and then silence the permafrost, and then attack with it. But they want to get the value out of it first of making it a 5/5, or a 6/6, or a 7/7, or however, like whatever they want to make it. The Chalice helped us draw into our green for those harsh rules, which is certainly nice. I like that. Xenon Obelisk sitting on the other side can be a bit of an issue, I think. Like, this is just freaking huge right now. One thing I could do is play the Huru Banner and play Crystalline Chalice. I don't think holding up Desert Marshal is really going to do anything for me. I could also just play a Great Parliament, but that seems like the worst of my options. So let's just develop the Chalice. It's going to get us ready. We can Harsh Rule and like save all our power for later. Opponent's still refusing to Desert Marshal this, which is kind of bizarre at this point. So unless their plan is like to stand together, which I guess is fine. Yep. The plan is to stand together. I could still just silence this. But I guess I want to draw my card first. I'm going to let them do this. Because if they spend all their power next turn doing this, it means they can't actually interact with the Harsh Rule. Is that better? Desert Marshal to pop this Aegis and then Harsh Rule? Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Although if they do plan on Desert Marshalling their own guy, he loses Aegis, and then the Harsh Rule is like totally free. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be their plan. Navani. Alright, so yeah, we're just going to pop this Aegis here. Next turn, I can Talir's Favored, Combray Healer, and then still activate Chalice twice. I have to draw a power to make that work. No, because Talir's Favored would get me that power. We are like set up to take 12 this turn, which is kind of an issue, but we are drawing a bunch of cards, which is, you know, hopefully still going to be fine. I think opponent has the, oh no, that pause is still for Desert Marshal. Okay. They could have another stand together, which could be a real issue. No, the last card has to be Desert Marshal, I believe. Alright, Living Defender is nice. Yep, last card is 100% Desert Marshal now. So if they try to tempo this out, I can just Scorpion Wasp it, which I think is what I'm going to end up doing.
Think you can escape me?
Because it prevents me from taking 4. I guess my other option is just Wisdom, playing the Lumen Defender. Okay, yeah, we're just going to Wisdom. Because we need to dig pretty deep for a Harsh Rule now. If I Lumen Defender, I'm not going to be able to play both Great Parliaments, so I actually have to Desert Marshal here. Which is not really where I want to be, but I want to play 3 cards this turn. Set myself up in a position to win the game over 2 turns. Alright, and that's going to be it. He realizes that all these flyers are just going to kill him in 2 turns. So that's awesome. Game number 1 chalked up to a win. See you guys for game number 2. Alright guys, welcome back for game number 2. 2 power hand, and then the cheapest thing is 4 is almost always a redraw. In fact, it's probably just always a redraw. You can eschew the almost. This hand seems fine. We could potentially have a turn 2 Temple Scribe, although it's unlikely. But we are likely to play Cumbre Healer on 3, and probably even turn 4 as well. Up against a green Seek Power deck, which is usually Armory, but could be Cumbre, could be... I guess it's usually Cumbre. But a lot of times it's Armory, a lot of times it's like Huru Control. So I could play Amber Acolyte here to, make sure I have my 4th power. The reason I think I'm a bit afraid to do that is if I get a time source, which I would get, I'm going to be short on green. I kind of want to make sure that I have one color versus the other before I Amber Acolyte. It's probably still better to do that in almost every situation here. Yeah, I guess I just should. Of course, technically, I'm way more likely to draw a time source than I am to draw a Justice. Which means that I should just get the Justice when I can fetch it and then draw into time because it's more likely I draw into it.
It's written right here.
But
it's written right here.
Yeah, we got the Justice anyway. See? We're always right. Takes just a bit of hoping. It's going to buff this, I assume. Yep. Take 3. Not terribly concerned. I can't play Lumen Defender this turn. Well, now I can. Just not sure I want to. I guess I do. Because I think I'm a little bit happier to be able to play Crystalline Chalice plus activate it in the same turn instead of just like spend 4 power, do nothing. And fortunately I drew another banner, which means I actually can do that. Does that just buff the 1/1? Harsh Rule's just a nice catch-all. If our opponent starts like really pulling ahead or activating Seraph a bunch, it's nice to have this. Other than that, though, opponent's not really attacking into Lumen Defender. They could silence it. But I feel like if they were going to silence it, they would have rather have done that on, on their own turn and actually attacked. I guess they still couldn't attack because they just, like, bounce off each other. The 3/7 can't really kill a 1/5. But it could also just have a stand together. Or a Scorpion Wasp. They could have lots of stuff. Activate there. We're gonna have to play around stand together for the majority of this game, I think. I think the second they take their stand together shield down, we can just like pounce and Harsh Rule. Other than that, though, I'm pretty content just sitting here and drawing a bunch of cards. They Harsh Rolled for us. Okay, I'm fine with that. I could tempo out a Desert Marshal here so I can draw a card off of it, but I can also just draw a card off the Cumbre Healer and not waste Perfectly Good Silence ability. I'm going to hold off on this. I think I'm going to Vanquish there. Could silence it, but Vanquish is right here. It works just fine.
Close your eyes.
We'll buff there. Disciple is a good card. In this deck, at least, in the setup. Another Mystic Ascendant. This one probably just needs to get silenced, as much as that kind of sucks.
Think you can escape me?
Another Harsh Rule. So we've drawn 3 Harsh Rules here. Alright, we'll seek power. Doesn't really matter what we get here. So we could attack. The reason that we'd want to attack is he can only block 1 thing. And then he takes 4. The issue with attacking is he can hit us back for 6. And I don't want that to happen. But looks like he's going to go for like the greedy double block line. Which is fine, because now you just lost your Desert Marshal for nothing. Like, I don't care about my 4/7s. Like, they're not important. A Scorpion Wasp your guy, I think. Or just try to race. Let's just try to race. I'm not too worried about 6 damage right now.
Close your eyes. Listen.
Okay. Vanquish. Still holding up Stand Together. That's a bit of an issue.
Which would you like?
Make our flyer into a 4/4. Cover Healer's fine. I think this turn I will Scorpion Wasp. I could also just double block. Our opponent is playing Harsh Rules, so they could have more. In fact, they likely have more, I think. If I go for a double block, he just stands together. So yeah, I don't want that. Great Parliament's nice. I could just permafrost this. The issue with permafrosting this is like we're sitting here with 3 Harsh Rules. Good permafrost targets are like a Seraph or even like a Mystic Ascendant or something. I'd want to permafrost. So yeah, I did activate the Chalice, so playing like a Cumbra Healer doesn't really do anything for me. I could play Great Parliament, get 2 more flyers, but then I can just get got by a Harsh Rule. So I'm just pretty happy to pass here. My opponent's sitting on... Well, they're still sitting on that Stand Together. So I guess now I want to Cumbra Healer. Just so I can activate. There's not much value in attacking on the ground, because what's going to happen is he just blocks the 4/3 and then stands together. This becomes a 3/6 and eats my guy. Sure, he takes 8 damage. That just sounds terribly like inefficient for me.
Think you can escape me?
Looks like he's going to just Desert Marshal and stand together anyway to kill my dude. Nope, no stand together. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, no issues there. Ideally, our opponent gives us a Desert Marshal target, which they did. Because now I can Desert Marshal, Crystalline Chalice the Desert Marshal, and end up like just fine.
Think you can escape me?
Alright, so it looks like they actually don't have a stand together. So I was like playing in fear of nothing. He can double block here. He loses his guy. I think whatever. It's fine too. You take 4. Play out my power, I think. Yeah, I'm going to keep holding back things in my hand and then just like play them as I want to draw more cards. Mostly because of this card. Although I get to just do what my opponent just did, Harsh Rule, and then play Parliament. Which takes up 9 power. I'll have 3 left over, which I could play an Amber Acolyte with. Cool. So as long as they don't draw a Harsh Rule, I think we're in pretty good shape. Pretty much anything else is fine. I can Vanquish a Sandstorm Titan, Permafrost, anything else. Nice. Great Parliament strikes again. Beautiful. All right, back into top 300. Good for us. And I'll see you guys for game number 3. All right, guys, welcome back for game number 3. And what I see here is what is probably going to have to be a keep, as uncomfortable as it kind of feels. I can't play Temple Scribe on 2, but I can play Amber Acolyte on 3. Sets me for Combray Healer and everything. Yeah, there's just nothing to really complain about this hand. It's missing double time, sure. Like that's kind of upsetting. But if I just draw like a Seat of, what do I want to draw a Seat of? It doesn't even matter. Just like a Time Sigil. Seat of Wisdom's fine. I'll take it. Looks like our all 3 of our games are going to be against Combray variants. This one happens to be splashing blue. We're just going to pass. We can Wisdom this turn. Opponent could play a Storm Lynx here. That's why I didn't want to attack. The 1 damage feels kind of negligible. But I think it's just a Desert Marshal they're sitting on. Because they would have, they would have played a Storm Lynx there, and they chose not to. But there was a pause, and it was for an ambush unit. So basically, here's what I know. I know that when I passed the turn, they had a pause. So it can be either a fast spell or an ambush unit. And then I played Wisdom of the Elders, and there was no pause, which means it has to be an ambush unit. Because the only time that ambush units are given like pauses is during combat and at the end of the turn. And fast spells you can cast whenever. So we know our opponent has an ambush unit. It's probably Desert Marshal because they would have played Storm Lynx. So just like process of elimination, we've kind of gathered what we think is in our opponent's hand, which means attacking is probably going to be fine for us.
Safe travels.
Play an Acolyte. I guess just get a Justice. We have like everything we need by a mile. Yeah, so we'll just pass there.
Close your eyes.
Alright, so I think they just drew a Combray Healer because they would have, like, they had 3 power available last turn. So this was their draw for this turn. Problem, though, is I can't really attack. I don't have a Chalice. I can't buff anything. I could Permafrost, but that's terrible. Yeah, when you're the reactive deck and your opponent's stuck, it means you're also stuck. As awkward as that kind of feels. Because, we can't really do anything until our opponent does stuff. The Chalice here lets us be a little bit more proactive, though, which is fine. Another Harsh Rule I enjoy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, let's just draw cards with what we have now. And go from there. This would be a very good Desert Marshal target for our opponent. Because I think but it does use my power a bit better. Could also just not do anything. I think it's fine to play this. Like, he'll just silence it, but it gained me 5 health, and I can still buff it later. So a bit different than what I did last game. Last game, I didn't start playing my my Chalice targets until it was the turn I was going to activate them, maybe for fear of them like dying or something. All right, our opponent got stuck on power and conceded. We played the game as best we could, but there's not really too many decisions to make. I tried to at least talk through some of the additional lines, but since that game was kind of a non-game, I think we're just gonna go to a game 4 and have a bonus game. All right, guys, welcome to the bonus game. I was only gonna do 3 games, but that third one was kind of a non-entity, so I decided to do a 4th. Hopefully, get a bit more variety in the decks we're facing. We just faced 2 Combre decks and like a TJP Tempo deck, so I'm gonna redraw this hand. Like, it's fine, but I couldn't actually play any of the cards that were in my hand. But it's got an Echo card. The opponent's got a lot of Echo cards. This could be something very, very different than what we just faced. Crown Roaches kind of comes to mind as an option. We have to pass our first 2 turns. I don't think we apply enough pressure to actually be good against Cockroaches, which is kind of concerning, honestly. Because if our opponent is playing Cockroaches, they're going to get way out of hand, and we only have this 1 Harsh Rule. Like, we have 4 in the deck, but like even 4 Harsh Rules against Cockroaches is still pretty poor. I don't know what to tell you guys. Opponent conceded. Let's go to bonus game number 2. Alright, guys, welcome to bonus game number 2. Opponent conceded on turn 3 last game. They were, I guess, again stuck on power and didn't want to play it out. I can actually play Wisdom of the Elders with this hand, which hopefully can find me into a second green for this Harsh Rule. I think it's a keep. Like, I would say overall that's like fine. Alright, now we have double Wisdom, which means if we don't find a green source there, we're just terrible at this game. Alright, so we're up against Volcano Aggro, but there is the second green. This hand is not wonderful against Crown Watch Paladin specifically. This Harsh Rule is not going to be very good. Champion of Glory is at least something I can deal with. Like, Harsh Rule sweeps it up. It's actually vanquishable if he puts a weapon on it, but if he puts a weapon on anything, it's going to be on the Aegis guy. Excuse me, Aegis guy, because like that just makes sense. Although he's attacking with this, I'm not sure why. I guess he wants to play around Scorpion Wasp, but if I use Scorpion Wasp to kill this, I think he's like should be thrilled. I don't know, it's very telling that he doesn't have a combat trick.
My forge is ready.
That's frightening. Marison's Disciple. So an option I have here is Amber Acolyte, play a power, and use Seek Power. I can also just play Marison's Disciple and make a Scorpion. I think I'm a bit more into that line. It's going to hold my opponent off from attacking with their Crown Watch Paladin this turn. And that's kind of what I need to have happen. They can use a Gene and put the weapon here, in which case, I think I would chump block rather than take 7. But then I could just vanquish instead of having to Harsh Rule. But then I still need to deal with the Gene, so. But yeah, I'm just gonna go for the vanquish. Ooh, opponent's got a fast spell. Whatever fast spell they have could be scary for me. I hope it's not a protect. Like, that'd be the worst case scenario. It's almost certainly a Finest Hour, which is why they don't really want to attack with this, but they'll attack with their Quick Draw guy. If it was a Torch, they would just, of course, torch this. So yeah, they're definitely sitting on a finest hour. We're at 13. We need to be very aware of that.
Draw, mister.
I'm fine with that. That's something else that dies to a harsh rule, which I do enjoy.
It's written right here.
That Desert Marshal is very, very helpful. I don't know if I pop an Aegis with it or what. I could just silence the quick draw and then block with the Scorpion when he goes to attack. That's probably what I'm gonna have to do. Oh, all we have left are time sigils in our deck. Didn't realize. Did not realize. But silencing there just feels so much better. But yeah, what's gonna happen is they're gonna put a 4/4 weapon here, and I'm gonna have to block anyway. I could just chump, but they're just gonna keep doing that over and over again. I think I just want this dead. Predator refuses to attack with this, which is fine. Yeah, so we'll just pass, have Desert Marshal available. Make this into an 8/8. It'll Warcry once, and then I can silence it. And then just trade the Scorpion with it. And then just probably make another Scorpion with this Disciple is probably what I'm going to have to do. Although we didn't put the weapon there. Interesting.
Think you can escape me?
I was almost positive he was going to put the weapon there first. But I guess he's got other things to do. Turns out these harsh rules just aren't doing anything. Because of this stupid thing. So I could play Marison's Disciple plus Amber Acolyte, or I can just play Lumen Defender. I think I'm a bit more into Marison's Disciple plus Amber Acolyte. It just uses my power a bit more efficiently. I can squeeze more things in. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do.
Which would you like?
I think power efficiency is certainly quite important. Because a lot of times your power does get taxed when you're talking about like Chalice activations and everything.
I'll cut you down.
So make that large. But if you're not attacking, I just don't care. Although if we can ever find a Chalice, we have so many good targets, like we'll never run out. Until we harsh rule, which is probably happening pretty soon. I could harsh rule and then make birds. Still leaves me pretty open to like Ground Watch Paladin. So we'll just make the birds anyway. Looks to me like the opponent's trying to get this into a range where it's just like a one-shot lethal. Which is certainly like a problem for me.
Close your eyes. Listen.
Play out the power. We should tackle both of these. Try to get this game over with. It's like a 3-turn clock if we like attack. Yeah. Like, I see what they're doing here. Maybe I do need to harsh rule. I could harsh rule and still kill this. Like, I harsh rule twice. Like, he still has, if he has got more than one finest hour. Like, let's say this becomes it'll become a 26, and that'll become a 32. If I block with this, take 24, block with both of these, take 20. I don't know. I'm just way too close to winning. Alright, maybe I should put everything in front of that. Basically everything that matters. Let's block there and then block here. Like, this definitely blocks the most amount of damage, right? I guess this technically does. Yeah, like, this blocks as much damage as I can. Yeah, looks like he got us. Oh, no. Okay. But we do only get him to 1. I guess we attack, harsh rule, and then Desert Marshal end of turn? He's got another fast spell. Is it a torch? Because, yeah, I can just harsh rule and then Desert Marshal end of turn for lethal. Although I don't know where the opponent seems to be missing in action. Sure. Alright, so we'll harsh roll this board. We are, like, dead to exactly a second torch if that's what he has. He's got a power. We'll go for the Desert Marshal. He'll torch it. Which is still an issue for us. Another harsh rule is not where we need to be. Temple Scribe, quite helpful. It's probably one of the best draws we could have had there. Combray Healer also just helps a bunch. So now we're out of range of lots of stuff. He's got one guy. If we attack with everything, does he have a second torch? He does. It's an issue. Harsh rule is 10-10. Play out our power. Permafrost. All right. We're dead to Deep Forged Plate. That's a point in favor of harsh ruling there. But fortunately he didn't have it, and now he needs a lot to be able to get out of this. Situation where I think largely Channel the Tempest would be better than these birds, but the birds definitely got him within this range. So we don't actually, it's not terribly important. Yeah, so let's I'll see you guys back at the deck screen. Yeah, guys, this deck went 3-0 over those 3 games, which is, of course, great, but not, I can't say that's definitive of how this deck is going to perform for you if you want to try it out. Changes that I would personally make, I think I would go down to 2 Great Parliaments. I don't think we need all 3. Marison's Disciple. Like, I think we want to add in like 2 to 3 Channel the Tempests. I don't know where those cuts come from. They could come from, the Seek Powers, Tullior's Favored, something along those lines. Another Great Parliament, or even like a Marison's Disciple. But like, I want 2 to 3 Channel the Tempest. I think you definitely cut 1 Parliament, and then like 1 of something else. Disciple, Seek Power, Favored, something like that, to make room for 2 Channel the Tempests. And then you'd have to rework the power base. Right now, you're very heavy on Combray, like kind of a light splash in blue. But I think we'd want to up the Primal Sigils up to like at least a reasonable number to be able to cast Channel the Tempest, because 4 Primals is certainly kind of like a million. But yeah, I think 3-0. Oh, I guess largely like it was 5-0 if you count the 2 games where the opponents like kind of just left on turn 3. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. If you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/theskij. Hope to see you guys there. I stream 4 days a week, and I would love to hang out with you guys. But that's going to do it for me, and I will see you guys next time.